The #1 show that dominates cable news, The O'Reilly Factor.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly in a Factor follow-up segment tonight because my recent conversations with President Bush, John Kerry, Oprah Winfrey, and David Letterman got a lot of publicity. We thought we'd analyze them from another point of view. Body language. Many times people say stuff, but they're thinking something else, and body language experts can zero in on that. With us now is Tonya Reiman, a motivational speaker who's an expert on communications, both verbal and physical, and we'll begin with President Bush.
I believe the decisions I have made, no matter how difficult they are going to make this world a better place.
And if they don't, if it doesn't work in Iraq and other things like that?
Well, it's going to work in Iraq, and unless we leave before the job is finished. Well, there's a lot of positive things in Iraq, such as 15 million Iraqis that voted for an election. Now, admittedly, things have changed since the election, and the fundamental question is, do we have the flexibility in our plan to meet the enemy as the enemy adjusts? And we do.
All right, so what did you learn from that?
Well, there's a couple of different things that I noticed. First, I noticed that he seems to be a little bit intimidated by your height. He doesn't want to look up to you, and he has to look up to you. So one of the things he does is he looks to the side instead of looking directly at you. I also noticed that he pulls back and goes forward, which is just also another indication of his nervousness in terms of he's uncomfortable with this conversation. He doesn't want to have this conversation.
But he wanted to do the walk and talk. I didn't want to do it.
Do you see how he's turning? He keeps turning towards you. That's a bonding mechanism. What he's trying to do is get you to a point where he can build rapport, so you're more on his side because you seem to be the more confident of the two.
Now, when we're sitting like we're seeing here, he's more relaxed, right?
He's more relaxed up on top. When you look at the bottom of him, you'll see he's leaking. What does that mean? His legs are shaking, his foot is tapping, he's going back and forth a little bit. So you can see nervousness doesn't always come out on the top half. A lot of times nervousness comes out on the bottom half.
When you're in any interview in front of millions of people, you're going to be a little tense, right?
As the president, he's been in front of millions of people constantly, and he's used to it. And if you see him in an environment where he's feeling good about what he's saying, you don't notice the leakage as much.
Okay, but this was a fairly, intense interview about the most, controversial things of the day.
Absolutely.
John Kerry, we'll roll the tape on this one. Are you going to let Iran have a nuclear weapon? Are you?
No.
So you would be prepared to use the full force of the American military to stop them from having a nuclear weapon?
You never take any option off the table, and every option ought to remain there. But let me tell you something. If you talk to any of the military planners here in Washington or any of the smart security people in our country, everyone will tell you what a risky and dangerous option ultimately that is.
What'd you learn from that?
One of the first things I saw when I watched this clip was he was going like this, yes, I will, which of course is incongruent. So what he's saying is something than what he's feeling. He's feeling internally no, but he's saying yes. So there's a big incongruency, and then he follows that up with, you never take all the options off the table. So initially he starts off with no, and then kind of changes his mind midway.
So if you were reading that interview as a professional, you would say that John Kerry was gonna let Iran have nuclear weapons?
Not necessarily. I would say there's an internal struggle within him, and he's not sure how he's going to leave it. So he's going to say one thing to you, but internally he's not really sure what's going to happen.
Now, what about demeanor? Was he nervous or?
No. He's very, very good in terms of his body language. It's almost as if he's been coached. He's not a big gesticulator. He's very calm. He's very relaxed for the most part.
And what about me with the little finger pointing? That's pretty obnoxious,
yes.
Isn't it?
Well, not obnoxious, but more your way of saying, I'm superior.
I'm superior?
I'm superior.
Is that when I wave that finger, that's what I'm saying? I'm superior?
Yes.
I don't feel that way.
Yeah. You know what? Unconsciously, you might feel like you have the stronger point between the two of you.
Oh, maybe that's true.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like I'm superior to the guy.
It's just a sign that says, I know a little bit more than you do, and I feel like my point is more valid than your point.
And that's what the finger says,
yes.
Huh? Oprah, roll the tape.
Isn't there a place in the middle? Because as you described, SPs, secular progressives, can there not be secular progressives who also believe that the United States is a noble and great country?
Not really, because the fundamental change that they want, structural change. Let me give you a big, here. This is where, let's get specific. Can we get down?
Yeah, get down.
All right, we're getting down.
What'd you learn from that?
Okay, there's a couple of different things. Oprah starts off with this, which is a power figure, okay?
What, the steeple?
Yes, the steeple's power. And then suddenly she gives you some of the power. What do? When she asks you a question, you pull back The pullback says, no, I disagree with you. And that's exactly what your verbal said as well. You said, I don't feel that way. And you pulled back away from her, which indicates a disagreement.
Okay. And what else? Were we both relaxed, both on equal terms?
Yes. She was, well, she's jovial to begin with. She has a good demeanor in terms of how she carries herself. You seemed very relaxed and very at ease and comfortable.
I was on a lot of tranquilizers. No, that's not true.
I think out of the 4, this was the clip that you looked the most comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was a different forum. It wasn't. She was interviewing me. I wasn't interviewing the other people.
Right.
So that's the difference. All right, let's roll the Letterman clip.
Terrorism now is a far more, it's white hot, where previous to the disruption in Iraq, it was a fact of life. It was a gruesome fact of life. But now it's become a damn intramural sport.
Hold it. I think it was pretty white hot on 9/11 when 3,000 people were slaughtered in the streets of this city.
Right.
So why don't you know? What you're doing is you're making a mistake of oversimplifying a very complicated situation.
Oh, I'm oversimplifying.
Yes, you are.
All right, what did we learn?
There's a couple of things. The first thing is what he's doing is he's giving you his palms. He's opening up his palms.
The palms.
That's open gestures. He's saying, listen to me. Listen to what I have to say to you. I'm open. I'm giving you myself. Okay. You come back with a finger point.
Uh-oh.
Which is saying to him, essentially, I know what I'm talking about here. You don't. So what does he do then?
But that's true.
He then puts on the smug face, which is a very emotional thing to do because, in essence, what he's just said back to you is, I give up with you.
All right, so he just dismisses me as a cretin.
Yes.
All right. So
I wouldn't use such a harsh word, but yes.
Yeah, you know, I don't think he likes me at all. I think that was pretty apparent.
Yeah.
So there was really nothing gained by that interview.
No, absolutely
But
not.
a lot gained by Oprah.
Yes.
Anything gained by Kerry?
Other than the incongruency, nothing.
And President Bush?
President Bush, the only thing I found really was that he was uncomfortable in the situation, trying to make his point, trying to make you feel good about the way he was making his point, and he did that by trying to turn into his body. Where you walked straight, he kind of tried every couple of steps to turn towards you, which is a bonding technique. It's a rapport-building technique.
Fascinating. And we appreciate Ms. Reiman coming in.
Thank you very much for having me.
Coming right back with a federal judge telling a Pennsylvania town it can't restrain illegal aliens. Can you believe this? Next.